Alicia Piedalue is running for the Ward 7 school committee seat, which became vacant after Amy Davenport stepped down after moving out of the district. Alicia is running unopposed, and this seat will be up for re-election later this year during the regular citywide election. This special election will be held on Tuesday, March 18th. Early voting will be available on Friday, March 7th from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Saturday, March 8th from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Newton News correspondent Spenser Walsh met with the candidate earlier this week to discuss her plans and goals for the remainder of this term.
I'm here outside the Newton Education Center, where after the special election for the Ward 7 seat in just a few short weeks on March 18th, Alicia Piedalue will hope to walk through these doors as the newest member of the Newton Board of Education. She was kind enough to invite me into her home, where we discussed a little bit about her vision for the future of Newton Public Schools. Okay. Yeah, thank you very much for doing
Of course.
this. I started with the beginning, asking how and why she began her school board campaign.
Yeah, it's a great question. So I was friends with Amy Davenport, the person who vacated the seat, and she let me know that she was leaving and moving to a different town, and thought that I should talk with some people on the school committee, talk with the superintendent, and just sort of consider running. And so I admit I was a little, standoffish about it at first, but after meeting with a handful of people, the first handful I met with, including the superintendent, I came away very excited about what I think Newton has the potential to do in the next handful of years.
Piedalue stressed her positive relationship with and opinion of Superintendent Dr. Anna Nolan. They're especially aligned on the need to sort out the basics first, before getting on to the big stuff.
The superintendent in particular, I appreciate that she's focused on doing some of this very important foundational work before we do all the next level work that we need to get done. So she came in and is doing things like standardized curriculum and common assessments and things that you might take for granted and don't sound that fancy. So people, it's not one of those things where in your first year you come in and you do this cool, exciting thing that everyone thinks is really interesting. And you can say, look what I did. She's not doing that kind of stuff. She's doing the fundamental work that has to get done in order for us to build upon it. And I really appreciate that. I think she's doing the right things in the right order. And those things are standard curriculum, common assessments, getting us rocking and rolling with these data dashboards so that we can make decisions based on student outcomes, that kind of work.
Piedalue also discussed the district's challenges ahead.
Yeah, there's a lot coming at us, I think, in the next handful of years. So we have enrollment and facilities challenges that we're going to have to come to terms with. I think there are a lot of different things we could do there, so I'm excited to see all the different avenues we can explore there. We have an opportunity to individualize instruction. I think now that we have tools like AI, there are a bunch of different ways that AI software is being applied to educational settings. And I don't mean those sort of, I'll use ChatGPT to write my papers kind of AI. That's not what I mean. I actually mean the kind of AI that helps teachers automate some of the work that they would do with students. For example, in a writing assignment where a student would maybe do writing like a nonfiction paragraph, and the teacher would normally in a fourth grade classroom have to go through each of those paragraphs and say things like, please add 2 more details or things like that. There are AI programs now that teachers can program to do the things that the teacher would do on their first pass, maybe their second pass. And so then they can focus on sort of the magic that they bring, which is the inspiration and some of the higher order work, instead of the you forgot to dot your I type of work. So there's efficiencies to be gained there and individualized to each child's development.
Piedalue also highlighted potential funding challenges ahead.
Not just because we are, constantly in a budget constrained situation, but we now are faced with potential for federal funding cuts to the tune of, potentially $6 million, which would be, a huge problem. A huge problem. So the budget work has just begun. It was kicked off last week. And of course, we don't know anything about the federal funding, and we don't know when or if we will know. I mean, it could be, a crazy decision that comes down quickly at a strange time. So one, simple thing that would be a big impact to families but could happen would be that people have to pay for their school lunches and breakfast again.
Finally, Piedalue discussed what would have to happen for her to consider her time on the school board a success.
I would really like to see us chip away at the achievement gaps. They persist. And I think we've tried a lot of different things in Newton and as a nation to combat them, and we aren't getting it. We aren't getting it right. So I would love to see us chip away at that. I would feel like that was a huge win. I think there are things like ideas that I love, like universal pre-K, I think it's really good for families. It's really good for kids. And so if Newton can get to that place, that would be also amazing. And I would love to have the families and students in Newton, by and large, feel better than they do today about the school's abilities to meet their needs. I think that you have a really mixed view of that. Like I talk to families who feel really good about how their kids are doing, families who feel like their kids are doing okay, and families who feel like, you know, there are these three things that the school is not doing to meet my kids' needs. So I would like that response to feel a lot more positive, to feel like, in general, individualized instruction is hitting each one of these kids and they're getting what they need when they need it.
Piedalue is running unopposed for the March 18th election, so it's all but assured she will be taking her seat in the building behind me, but she will have to run again in November because this was just a special election for the seat after it was vacated by Amy Davenport. From outside Newton Educational Center for New TV, I'm Spenser Walsh.